Welcome to our final Year 11 Zoom/YouTube lesson. Let's make the most of it and enjoy this final lesson. Today we are looking at the natural minor scale. So, before we look at the textbook, it's worth reviewing what a major scale is. So, in very simple terms, we've learned of the major scale as being that scale that has a happy character. We also learned in more detail that a major scale has a specialised set of tones and semitones that make it sound major. We learned that a major scale is created of a tone, tone, semitone, that's the small gap, tone, 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 semitone, and that is in fact what makes the major scale sound major. So we've heard about minor tonalities before. We've done minor triads, which is a minor chord as opposed to a major chord. We've also learned about minor intervals, major and minor intervals. Major third, major second, minor second, major sixth and minor sixth, major sevenths. And we have learned in general that when something is minor, it generally has a more sad or sinister tone to it. So that introduces us to our first of our minor scales that we'll learn. There's actually quite a few minor scales. You've possibly learned other ones first in your lessons on guitar or voice or keyboard, such as the harmonic minor scale or the melodic minor scale. But the scale we're going to start with today is called the natural minor scale. So, I'm going to play you one before we even start looking at it theoretically. So the first thing you'll notice is it's got that sad tone within the first three notes. Whereas a major scale starts off with the major third, and then as we carry on, at the end, there's not a semitone. Usually scales finish, so it's got. So as a result, it has a much more sort of sad and demure sound to it, which makes it a great scale to use if you're writing music that you want to have more of a mysterious or sad tone with. So, how do we work these out theoretically? Well, that's where I'm going to pop my iPad onto the screen now so we can have a look. There I am again, so you can still see me. So this is page number 32 that we are on. So how do we create these? Well, I'm going to take you through Deborah Smith's explanation first. I think she does a pretty good job of explaining it in the textbook. So when we're wanting to work out a natural minor scale, what we do is we just sing a major scale but begin and end on its La. This natural minor scale was also called the Aeolian mode, but that's something we'll talk about another day. So for example, if we look here, it'll make more sense when we say it. Here is a scale that makes use of the notes of C major. So we recall that C major is just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There's no sharps or flats to make C major. And here's an example. Like if you look here, these notes, they're all natural notes. There's no sharps or flats. So all of the notes are from C major. And you can see here, C is labelled as Do, D is labelled as Re, E is Mi, F is Fa, G is So, A is La. If we need to find T, what was down here, T is B. But you'll notice we're not starting on C. What we've done here is we've started on A, or in other words, the La of the scale, as in like La, Ti, Do. So I'll quickly play you a C major scale again. So here's C, D, E, F, G, A, and I'll finish off B and C. So, if we take the notes of a C major scale, but instead of starting on C, we play those exact same notes, but starting on A, as in the La of the scale. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So, La is A, but we're going to start lower. You get, so C, B, A. If you start on A, but use the same notes that C major has, a natural minor scale. So we've looked at this and we've said, oh, A natural minor, and that's what this scale is. It's A natural minor. And I'm going to write nat for natural just to make it easier. This scale written here is A natural minor, but it uses the same notes as the C major scale. So we actually say that C major and A natural minor are related. Like, brothers and sisters share the same DNA or similar DNA, but still have different birthdays. Well, A minor, A natural minor, and C major, they share the same notes, but they start differently. Sort of like what I explained there with siblings. Similar DNA, same parents, but different birthday. Well, that's the same here. Scales are related. So let's move along. So as mentioned here, C major and A minor are related keys because they share the same key signature. In this case, they share the scale of no sharps or flats, the key signature of no sharps or flats. Here's another little piano diagram that explains it quite well. If you look here, the blue circles are the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. The green circles, still the same notes. It's still C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, but do, ti, la, so it starts on la. La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. So you can see there quite clearly it just uses the white notes of the piano. Therefore it has the key signature of C major. But it, of course, starts on A, so it's A natural minor. Now, who's just arrived? I can see that... Is that you, Kalani? I think it is. So I'm going to mark you present now. And we'll get back to it. So, there we go. Now, there are many ways to work out the relative major and minor keys. So every major scale does have a relative minor. The easiest way is to find the La in the major scale. And what happens is that La in the major scale becomes the tonic or keynote of the relative minor. So we've got to put that old story out the window now of, the root note of a scale is always Do. Because you've seen right here that the root note of A natural minor is La. So what we're saying here is that major scales always start on Do, but from now on, if we're talking about a minor scale, we'll call its keynote La. So let's have a look at this pair of scales now. We're going to look at D major. So here's a D major scale. We know it's a D major scale because it starts on D, it ends on D, and it has F sharp and C sharp in the key signature. I'll even just pop them here so it's obvious where they sit in the scale. So, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, Do, F sharp, E, D, which is Do. Now you'll notice that the La of this scale was B. So F sharp, E, D, which is Do, C sharp, B, Do, Ti, La. By adding in the next two notes going down, Do, from Do to Ti to La, you get the root note or keynote of D major's relative minor. So the general rule is you count the La, which is as simple as counting down 3, because Do, Ti, La is a minor third down. So you've probably guessed it by now. If you start on the note B, but still keep the key signature of D major, which I'll pencil in again right here, just so it's clear in the notes, what you do is you get D major's relative minor, which is B natural minor. So D major and B natural minor are relatives, or besties. I like to say they're besties, best friends. They get along very well. They're very similar. They share the same notes, just starting on a different keynote. And so here is B natural minor. So I'll play you D major one more time. Go down. There's our root note for the new scale, B natural minor. Still got F sharp and C sharp, but starting on B. So that is the natural minor of D, otherwise known as B natural minor. So you're probably wondering, why is it called a natural minor when it's got sharps in it? That means that we need to start thinking about other types of scales. There's melodic minors and harmonic minors, where you actually take the natural minor and add sharps to change the sound of the scale. So we say that this currently is a natural minor because, with the exception of the key signature, none of the other notes are changed. I'll leave it at that. It'll make more sense when we learn the melodic minor and harmonic minor scales soon. Let's move along. So how do we write these scales? So here's an example of writing a natural minor scale. To write E natural minor scale, firstly, take the notes that are in the relative major scale. Now, if we counted down 3 to get the natural minor, so for example, when we started with C major, we counted down 3. C, B, A, or Do, Di, La to get A natural minor. It goes without saying, if you're told to write a natural minor on a certain note, that to get the relative major, you would count up. So what is 3 notes up from E? E, F sharp, G. In other words, you count up 3 to get the relative major, and you can then get your key signature from that. So if we're being asked to write an E natural minor, we need to know what it's related to. So the way I think of it, which one's lower? You count down 3 to get the minor. You count up 3 to get the major. So think about minors, as in people who dig stuff out of the ground, like gold or stuff. Are they up or down? They're down in the ground, minors. So you go down to get the minor. So here's an example of this scale. E natural minor is related to G, E, F, G. There's a G major scale there with its F sharp in the key signature. What did we do before to work out the key note? From G major, you add to... Oops, that was terrible. Try again. You count down. If that's Do, we want Ti and La. Do, Ti, La. And there's the starting note. Terribly drawn again with my pencil. No, not getting it there. Let's try again. The stave is very small here. That's an E. No, it's not. Still doesn't look like it, does it? Let's try again. Nope. How about I go like this? And then bring it back down so for you to see. Much better. That's better. I think. Cool. Okay. So yeah, we worked out if we've got G major, we can count down 3. G, F, E. And bingo, you start on E. That's this note down here. And use G major's key signature, and you end up with a natural minor. So, I think what is being said in this textbook here is, if you're given the name of a minor scale and you want to work out what its relative major is to get the right key signature, count up 3. For example, if you're wanting to work out D, if you were working out D natural minor, what's D natural minor related to? You count up 3. D, E, F. It'd be related to F major. Similarly, if you were told to write the natural minor of F major, you'd count down 3. F, E, D, and you get the starting note of D for D natural minor. This will hopefully make more sense once we put it into practice, which we're going to do on the next page, which is right here. And I'd actually like you to take out your pencils, because we're going to work this out together. If, for example, we're given here C major. C major has how many sharps? None. How many flats? None. So what they've done here, if you want to work out what C major's relative is, you write C and then count down from C as Do, Ti, La, and you get that. And there's the answer, A minor. I'll demonstrate what I mean here. So it does tell us here that G major is related to E minor. G major has F sharp, of course. How do we know it's E minor? Well, let's pop a G here. So if that's Do, we want to count down Do, Ti, La, G, F, E. And again, I'm having great trouble on these much smaller staves today on this page. But there it is. G, F, E. Hence why we know it's E minor. Let's do another one together. So D major has the key signature of F sharp and C sharp. It does tell us here that D major is related to B minor. Let's prove that it's correct. There's D. So let's count down a third. D, C, B. So if you're ever any doubt, if you're asked to write the relative minor of a certain major scale, you can write out the note of the major scale and then write out 3 notes, or third lower, 2 more notes down, a third lower, and you can see it's B. Let's test the rest. Okay, so here's A major. It's telling us it's related to F sharp minor. There's the key signature of A major, 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. Let's double check it. A is the do, G is the T, therefore F sharp is the la. Why is it F sharp? Because of the key signature. It's really important to keep that in mind. It's F sharp. Let's do the rest. E major is related to C sharp minor. Let's prove it. Start with E. Let's count down. Do, T, La. And of course that is C sharp. It makes sense because if C sharp major is related to E major, it can't be C major. C minor can't be related to E major because C major has no sharps. Okay, let's keep on going. So B major is related to G sharp minor. Let's check it. There's a G sharp in the key signature. Let's pop these notes in again. B, that's do, T, La. And not that that was done very well on the stage. Let's try again. That's better. There it is. And you can see the point. Now I'm not going to do all these ones right now, but let's just double check the flat keys to make sure they work. So F major has B flat. It's telling us here that that's related to D minor. Let's double check. Let's find an F. Let's count down. 1, 2, 3. When I count down, I say I'm counting the starting note as well, and I didn't draw them very well, and that's still not very good. That's better. F, E, D. Yep, a minor third down from F is D. F major and D minor are related. Let's do 2 more. So B flat major. The book is telling us it's related to G minor. B flat major has B flat and E flat. Let's just prove that it is related to G minor. So B flat, there's the B, A, correct, G. So a third down, G. 1 more, E flat major, C minor. So C minor certainly doesn't have no sharps or flats, that's C major. C minor shares its key signature with E flat major. So let's check out again. E flat is there, let's count down a third. E flat, D, C. So that's basically how you can work out what the relative minor is of any major scale. Essentially, count down 3, including the starting note. Do, Ti, La. So for today's lesson, we are going to write a few scales together. This is guided practice. We'll definitely get to writing our own when we're back at school next week. So let's have a go at these questions. So let's read them very carefully and have your pencil out ready to work as we're going. On the given staff, well, that's the musical lines, write 1 octave ascending and descending. Ascending and descending in quarter notes. So what is a quarter note? American term. What's the English term of a quarter note? It's a crotchet. Or in other words, these things. Whoops. I'm just going to write it here. That's better. Crotchet. Cool. Of the natural minor scale, in other words, the scale starting on La, with 2 sharps in the key signature. Write the letter names beneath each note. So first question, what major scale has 2 sharps? Before we even worry about the minor, our mantra is always work out the major first. What major scale has 2 sharps? We know that using the order of sharps, Father Christmas, F sharp, C sharp. That's okay, Ngafo. Good to see you here. By the way, I'll mark you on the roll. So yeah, F sharp and C sharp is the key signature. So what major scale has 2 sharps? Well, we used to take away 2 to get the sharps. So to get the name, you add 2. Father Christmas, add the other 2 back, gets drunk. D major. The scale which has 2 sharps is D major. So we know that a relative minor starts on the La. In other words, 3 notes lower. So if I pop a D on here, I'm going to pop it a little bit in, so I've got room. If that's the Do, then Do, Ti, La. Oh, look at that. The starting note, therefore, must be B, or in other words, we're writing B natural minor. Let's double check up here on this chart. Was this correct? Yes, D major is related to B minor. This might be a little confusing, so if it doesn't make sense, don't stress. We will get it eventually. So we've worked out our starting note. We know that the scale with two sharps, D major, has a natural minor of B minor, 2 notes lower, or a minor third lower. Once we've done the rest of this, what do we need to do? Well, we've simply put the circles on the page, like so. Where do I need to stop? B is there, so B, C, D, E, and C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. And then we work our way back down. Oops, that was a very dodgy one. Try again. That's better. And stopping on B again. Now, what was the other part of this question? Ascending and descending 1 octave in quarter notes, or crotchets. So we need to colour them all in and give them stems. Stems go up when you are below or on the middle line. Middle line can go down as well if you want. But once you're above the middle line, the stems need to go down. Down on the left, up on the right. So it's really important that the stems are roughly the same length, so they all move down a bit. Now, we said on the middle line, it can go up or down. Well, I did up there, so I'm going to do down for a change on this one, because it's on the middle line. But then it has to be up for the rest. Okay, final question. On the given stuff, blah, 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 write the letter names beneath each note. So what did we say this note was? Well, in bass clef, good, birds, B. What comes after B a note higher is C. Anything in the key signature for that? Oh yeah, the sharp's on the C, so it's C sharp. D, E, F. Is F affected? Yes, F sharp. It is affected by the key signature. G, A, B. And back down. A, G. That G was a bit dodgy. F sharp, E, D, C sharp, and B. We have just written a B natural minor scale, which is related to D major. We say it's related because it shares the same key signature of F sharp and C sharp. Okay, let's try one more. So, we're going to do this question, then we're going to do this question. I'm going to leave this one for you to do yourselves. Let's do this one first. On the given staff, yep, right, 1 octave, yep, ascending, yep, descending. In quarter notes again, yep, quarter notes. Of the natural minor scale with 3 flats in the key signature. And this time we're going to write the solfa. So, 3 flats. Firstly, what are the 3 flats? We use the order of flats to help us work out the flats. So what word do we get that says the flats? Bead, followed by GCF. So what are the first 3 flats we need? B flat, E flat, A flat. B flat, E flat, A flat. Now, you could look up on the previous page and see what the answer is as to which natural minor this is. But we're going to work it out the theoretical way rather than just looking back in our book to see what the scale of 3 flats is. So what do we say that we need to do? The best thing to do is work out what's the tonic in a major key. Now we're in what scale? B flat, E flat, A flat. Take away this one, because usually if we want to work out how many flats we need, we go to the name of the scale and then add 1. So you do the reverse to work out the tonic of the major. Take away that 1. The second last flat gives us the answer. We are talking about the major scale of this key being E flat major. So I'm going to pop an E. All cows eat. So if that's our do, if that's a major scale do, we need to go back 3. Do, ti, la. And we can do that like this. Whoops, that wasn't very good. Try it again. And there we go. And we find that that scale commences on C. So the natural minor we are writing here is C natural minor. Let's label this one up here too, so it's then B natural minor. So we just follow on like before now. We can do the notes. Where do we stop? We stop on the same note. So if that's a C there, we stop on C up an octave higher and back down again. Okay. So C natural minor. E flat, A flat, B flat, C. So, one last part of this question. Write the solfa beneath each note. So, as I mentioned earlier, in a minor scale, that isn't do anymore. Do is always the tonic of a major scale. Do, ti, la. That is la. Minor scales start on la. So we can now label the rest of the notes appropriately. La, ti, what comes after ti? Do. And then you carry on with the rest. Re, mi, fa, so, and la. Let's go back down. La, so, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. Right. So, that is our scale. Now, you've probably noticed here that with B flat, E flat, and A flat, they would have been these notes. I'm going to actually pop the flats on and highlight them too. Because this is a really, whoops, I didn't mean that. I want highlighter, try again. So, just going to change my colours here. Yep, highlighter. You'll notice, and I'm doing this on purpose because we're working in C. So we know C major is no sharps or flats. Another way that we can describe the natural minor, and this is the way you'll probably prefer it, you'll probably find this easier, is that we can say a natural minor is just a major scale with the third, sixth, and seventh note flattened. In other words, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. So, I'm not going to say anything more about that right now. We'll go into that in more detail when we're back at school next week. But that's another way you can work this out. If you know what the major, if you can start with a major scale, you lower the third, sixth, and seventh, and you end up with the natural minor of that root note. So, this question you can do on your own when we've finished the video. The answers are all up here. Write the key signatures belonging to the following keys. Oops. And you can see that they were just up here. There's C and A minors key signature, there's D and B minors, and there's all of them, so you can work it out there. What we will do though is we will have a go at this final question, and I'm going to put this open for people to answer in the chat window, which will be a lot of fun. The first person to get the correct answer will get a success pass on Compass. You might not realise you're getting success passes, but every time you've done good stuff, we've been logging success passes on Compass, which means you may or may not win a prize, depending on whether your name's drawn out later on in the normal draws. So, I'm going to play you 3 scales. Deborah Smithy's actually with her sound file. And you're going to tell me in order whether it's like major, 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 minor, 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 major, minor, major, or whatever the answer is. If you can put that into the chat window once you are certain what those 3 scales are in their order, I'll give a success pass to the first person who gets that right. Now I just need to load up my sound file so I can actually play this to you, so give me a second. Once again, I'm not 100% prepared. My apologies. So, just getting it ready now. So, just to remind you, the major scale has a happy sound. Minor. And the main thing you'll hear straight away is majors start with 1, 2, 3, major third. The minor scale starts with a minor third. So, it's loading up the sound file now. Just give me a few more moments. Almost there. And I am now ready. So I'm going to load up this file. Okay, so here they are. I am now going to play these scales. Deborah Smith will, in fact. Each scale is played twice. So it'll be the first scale will be played twice. The second scale will be played twice. And then the third scale will be played twice. And you, if you can firstly write your answer in your book, of course. But more importantly, to get the prize of a success pass, nothing tangible, of course. There's no money involved, but it's a prize anyway. For the first person to write into the chat window what the correct order is out of major and natural minor for these three scales. Here we go. So that was scale number 1. There you go. Okay, so scale 3. Okay, so I need now in the chat window what the 3 scales were in order out of major or minor. So let's give it a go. What can you pop in there? I need all 3, Leslie. Okay, I need all 3 in the one answer because 3 scales were played. Correct! Ngafoa, you are the winner. Well done. Good work. But thank you so much for all of you trying. That's really great. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Yeah. I did specify that I wanted them all in order in the one answer, so therefore Ngafoa wins. Ha. Cool. But thank you for trying, Leslie. Actually, Leslie, you know what? Good effort. I'll give you a success pass too. So, because I'm so kind. Well done, everyone. So, there you have it. That's the natural minor scale learned today. I'll be back in Zoom if you need further help with this or have any other questions you need to ask. Otherwise, please jump onto musictheory.net and do the links I've set for this lesson and upload them. As mentioned prior, look, we're going to be doing a range of things, including the hurdle task already started, to judge your satisfactory completion for Year 11 Unit 1. But a big thing we'll be looking at is completing the the hurdle task and general weekly work. And the more you've done, and you can catch up this week, I'm a nice person, will help make sure that you are successful in Unit 1. So I can see the chat window absolutely going mad, setting up a bit of a competition. Anyway, see you all. I'll see you all back in Zoom if you want to come in for some help, and otherwise carry on with your day. And I'll make sure that the Google Classroom's set up right now so you can upload that work as it's done. Have a good day, everyone.